Okay, let us begin modeling the screwdriver. So a couple things to note. If your project is set and you go to File, Open Scene, you select the scene and hit Open, then you should see, if you hit spacebar, right, you should see the image plane. If you do not see the image plane here, there's a bug in Maya. So the first thing to check is just to make sure that your project is set. So File, Set Project, set your project, then reload the scene. If you still don't see the image plane, check your outliner and make sure that image plane is here. If you still don't see it, then what you can do is go to the channel box and toggle this view on and off, and that will frequently fix it. And then if you still don't see it, you can select it in the outliner, go to Attribute Editor, and then toggle this in all views and looking through camera, and that should make it pop back. Okay? All right, so what I like to do is start with the most difficult part first. The most difficult part is going to be this, the top of the screwdriver, where it transitions from a cylinder into more of a rectangular squarish piece, right? So that's what we should try and solve first. I will be primarily using the side view and the perspective view. So what I'm going to do, instead of using all four of these views at the same time, I'm going to go to the left here and click on this 2-panel layout. So you can see I have the front view here and the perspective view. With any viewport, you can change the camera that you're looking through by going to the Panels menu and then choosing through the camera list, right? So if ever you end up in a situation like this where you can't get to your perspective view, just go to Panels, Perspective, PERSP, Perspective. So for here, I'm going to go Panels, Orthographic, Side, and now I've got the orthographic view on one half and the perspective view on the other half. So right now I am concerned about modeling just this piece. When you are modeling something, you should always model it in parts instead of one whole piece. By always, I really mean most of the time. This will help you not only in modeling by making things much easier in terms of controlling your edge flow, but also when it comes to texturing when you have to bake. So trust me, you want to model in pieces. And a good general rule would be to model the object in pieces similar to how it is built in the real world. So in this case, for the screwdriver, we would have one piece for right here. We'd have another piece, the silver piece, and then brass or bronze right here, another piece, and then one last piece. So let's start with this piece, which is going to be the most difficult. I'm actually going to start with a cube because I'm mainly concerned with how this transitions into this cylindrical piece, right? So I'm going to move the cube up and then scale it way down. In this view, while I'm hovering over, I'm going to hit 4. That way I have the wireframe in this view and then the shaded in this view. So I'm going to always scale this uniformly so it's a perfect cube like this. So I'm going to hit F to zoom in, and I'm just going to scale this so that it is just over the size, and I'll push it through the bottom. Then I'm going to go to Vertex Mode by using the marking menu, and in Vertex Mode I'm going to click and drag over top of these vertices. Notice that in Perspective Mode, you know, if I just click once, it's going to select one vertex. If I click and drag, it'll select the vertex in the front and the back. So if I click and drag over all of these, it's going to select all 4 vertices. So I'm going to pull this up to the same height. So it's something like this. Now I'm going to be looking at transition. So it's mostly the same thickness all the way up to about this point. So I need to add an edge loop here before I start manipulating the width of it up here. Because if I scale this out, it's going to scale the entire like rod, right? And we don't want that. So I'm going to go to my multi-cut tool. I can do that by going to the modeling toolkit and clicking on multi-cut. Alternatively, I can hit Control-Shift-X, and that is the shortcut. I'm going to go back to here and actually scale this to the correct width. It's a little wide. Just tweak that. Then I'll go back to Vertex Mode and move this back up. Okay, now Control-Shift-X. So I want an edge loop. Remember, to get an edge loop, I can hold Control and then hover over an edge, and it'll give me a preview of where I'm going to drop that edge loop. So I definitely want one around here, and then one around here. And this is because this tapers out very wide right here, right? And cuts back in. So hold Control and click. And now if we look over here in the perspective view, you can see we have two edge loops that wrap all the way around. This is where we should be at this point. All right, let's go ahead and get the thickness here. So I'm going to right click and go to Vertex Mode. I'll select these vertices. I'm going to hit R to go to scale, and I'm going to pull this out. So this picture is not perfectly straight, which is why it's lined up at the bottom but not the top, and that's okay. We're just going to do our best. So line this up like this. Let's pull these back down and hit W and go, just adjust that a little bit. Next, I want to kind of capture this sort of the rounded top. So I'm going to go to Edge Mode and select this edge and this edge, and I will bevel those. I can do that right here in the modeling toolkit. So bevel, and I'm going to use the side view as my guide, and I'm going to adjust the fraction something like that. So right now we're getting our shape down. However, this face right here is what would be called an n-gon. An n-gon is a polygon that has more than 4 sides. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, right? And we don't want that. I will discuss topology in a different lesson, but for now we're going to want to keep quads and triangles. So I'm going to fix this n-gon now, and I'm going to do that by, there's several ways we could do it, but I'm going to go to the multi-cut tool, so Control-Shift-X. I'm going to hover over this vertex, and then hover over and click, and then hover over this vertex and click. You'll see I get a preview of the edge I'm about to create, and then I will right-click to finish that edge. Then I'll come over here and do the same thing. Click, click, right-click to finish. Next, we need to worry about the transition from a flat surface to a round surface. So what we're going to do is kind of break these apart, create the round surface, and then bridge across the two surfaces. So follow along. I have the multi-cut tool still. Over here, I'm going to create another edge loop by holding Control with the multi-cut tool and clicking. I'm looking at sort of the bottom of this flat spot right here. So I'm going to click around here, and then I'm going to go to Face Mode and delete these faces. All right, next let's go ahead and, before we round this out, let's go ahead and go to Vertex Mode, and I'm going to select these vertices at the top. And what I want to do is shrink them together like this. However, I want to also be shrinking these together too, so that I don't have to manually adjust these. So I'm going to hit B on the keyboard. And what that does is toggles soft select on. You can see the modeling toolkit soft selection is right here. I could open this up and check this box, and that's the same as toggling B. If I hold B and click and drag left and right while holding B, I am adjusting the strength of the soft selection. So I want to encapsulate this whole upper portion. And now you'll see with soft select off, this is the effect I get. I'm going to undo that by hitting Z. If I hit B and toggle soft select on, this is the effect I'm getting, right? It's impacting all these vertices, which is what I want. So I'm going to get this something like that. That looks pretty good. I'll hit B to turn soft select back off. Next, I'm going to go to edge mode. Then I will select these 4 edges here and I will bevel them. So I'm going to hit bevel. So I'm going to kind of keep track of how many edges I want. I want to make this round, so right now I'm going to add, let's say 3 segments, and 0.8 looks pretty good. Going to delete the bottom face, so face mode, delete. And just to make sure this is nice and round, I'm going to select this bottom edge loop. I went to edge mode and double clicked on one of those edges and I selected the entire edge loop. Then I'll go to edit mesh, circularize, and click on that. Notice how it changed it a little bit. I don't need to make any adjustments in here. I'm going to go to the top and double click on that edge loop. If you want to reuse the tool that you just used, you can hit G as in Georgia. So I'm going to hit G and I just circularized again. Now I have this nice round cylinder. I need to connect these two. Before I do that, I need to have the same number of edges or sides so that they'll connect. So I'm going to go ahead and select these 4 sides and I will bevel here too. And I'll increase the fraction to, let's do something similar. Well, let's do 0.6, 7, and we're going to do 3 segments as well. So for now, I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete this top face and deal with that later. And we're going to adjust some of these edges. So I'm going to select, so I'm going to go to Vertex Mode and select these 2 vertices. They're close to each other on both sides. So this vertex and this vertex on both sides. And I'm going to go to the scale tool and just pull these in. And then I'm going to select these. Whoops. And these, and pull these in a bit as well. And I'll keep them pretty tight up there for now. And then lastly, I'll select this one, and this one, this one, and this one, and just pull these in a bit too. I'm going to go to edge mode, double click on this bottom edge here, hold shift and double click on this edge, and then I'm going to select bridge right here. You'll see that it bridges across like so. And now we can adjust this shape a little bit. So what I'm seeing mainly is this harsh corner right here. Let's see what this looks like in smooth preview mode, because we will be smoothing this. So I'm going to select it and hit 3 and then click off to see what effect we're getting. I'll compare that up here. So right now looks like this is too rounded out, and we don't have a sharp enough angle change here. So let's fix those things. So I'm going to select this edge by double clicking on it in edge mode and hit bevel. I'm going to turn the fraction down like that, and then I'll hit 3, and that seems to have helped quite a bit with the angle change being more aggressive. Let's work on this top part. So I'm going to hit 1 to get out of smooth preview mode. Remember that 3 and 1 toggle that on and off, right? So I'm going to hit 1, go up to edge mode, double click on this edge loop, and then I'm going to scale it out like so and bring it down a bit. Then I'll hit 3 on my keyboard. Let's go over here and see what it's looking like. And that's looking better. Let's go ahead and add a top to this. So I'm going to hit 1 again and spacebar to full screen this. Focus in on this. And I'm going to select these 2 edges and bridge. So again, bridge is right here. It's also up here. And then I will select these edges and hit G to bridge again. And I'll bridge that. Bridge, bridge, bridge. All right, let's go ahead and hit 3 to do a smooth preview. All right, let's go to edge mode, select this edge, move it up a little bit. And then I might actually connect some edges over here. Actually, no. Oops. And then I'll hit 3 again. All right, I'm gonna go to face mode, select this middle face. I'm gonna hit B to turn soft select back on. I'm going to adjust the strength of soft select by holding B and left clicking and dragging left and right. Alternatively, I could play with this number to adjust that. All right, so I just want to make sure that I'm capturing both sides here, but not so low that I'm going to affect these vertices down here. So with that selected, I'm gonna hit 3 to go back to smooth preview, and I'm gonna hit spacebar over here, and then just pull this. Let me turn soft select down a little bit more. There we go, something like that. Pull this up like that. And now we're getting somewhere. Let's see. Here. And I'll take all these and pull them down a little. Turn soft select off for this. Down. There we go. Okay, so what I'm seeing now is the screwdriver head kind of is not flat all the way to the side. It's rounded over here, like right here. You can see that, right? So let's just pull some of these edges in. I'm going to do that by going to Vertex Mode and scaling these in a bit. Actually, I should do that all at the same time. So I'll select these 4 and scale those in. Something like that. I'll select these 4 and scale those out a bit. And these ones I will also bring in. And I'm going to hit 3 to check smooth preview. And that's a bit better. It needs to be more extreme though, so let's play with that. Let's take this edge. Scale that in. These edges. Scale those in as well. Check smooth preview. Starting to look a little bit better. I think those got scaled in a little too much, so I'm going to go ahead and select these and scale those out just a touch. And then I'll take these and scale them that way, and then scale them this way a bit. Okay, and I'll check smooth preview again. And that's starting to look pretty good, especially after we texture it. We can really make this pop. All right, we'll call this good for now. We probably tweak it a little bit more later, but in the next video we'll go ahead and make the handle.